With all the current discussion about immigration, borders, and walls, I find myself reflecting on these subjects more than ever. Last month, Motion 103 was being discussed in Parliament about anti-discriminatory laws. Although I'm in agreement with anything stopping discrimination and violence, I find myself questioning today's world and the need to pass laws to encourage what seems to be the most basic human thing: treat everyone with respect and equality. Have we, as a society, really regressed to this level that we need reminding that discrimination is wrong? This is somewhat of a wake-up call. All of us in this chapel today come from an immigrant family, somewhere down the family tree. Some of you are first generation, second, and some like me are third generation. Our Canadian quilt of immigrant families is our history as a society. I'm sure we all have stories our parents have passed down. What I've learned about my heritage stays with me in my everyday life. Lessons my family has shared, talks I've had with my elders, they all contribute to who I am today. I would like to share some of these stories and how they helped shape me as a young person growing up in today's sometimes chaotic world. Today, I would like to share stories from my Nanaji, my grandfather, and his immigrant journey in the 50s. Mr. Santokh Basi was an 18-year-old living in India. His father was an accountant and landowner. To have a degree in those days was so rare, so he was well respected in the community. He died an early death, and my Nanaji, from a very early age, had to help his mother and siblings look after the household. One thing he was told, though, was to get an education. He set off to Canada after finishing high school. In those days, he said, getting a visa to Canada was not so hard. Like many other immigrants, he landed in a foreign country, didn't speak the language, and had $10 in his pocket. When I think about that now, I just can't even imagine what courage it takes to do this. I also can't imagine the courage it takes for a parent to let their son travel halfway across the world. No texting, no emails, not even landlines in India. Nana tells of his journey here, aboard a ship, Queen Elizabeth, and that it took months to get to Canada. He often tells me, if you can't live outside your comfort zone, challenge yourself, you'll never progress to your full potential. With growth comes discomfort, sometimes pain, sometimes disappointment. Although it pales in comparison, I applied these lessons when I decided to change schools, try out for rep hockey, and even audition for the middle school play. Some of the greatest lessons Nana has taught me is to put your faith into God, believe in your fellow man, and believe in yourself. Once arriving in Canada, he had to work to save money, as he didn't have enough money to pay for tuition. He tells me of stories of babysitting, working as a farmhand, and working in a coffee shop. Being a very visible minority, I wondered how he was treated. He said he was welcomed into friends' homes for dinner, he had no problem finding work, and he was always treated with respect. Be humble. Ask for help when you need it, he tells me. You will find others eager to help. You'll find peace and prayer. These lessons I carry not only when I need help, but when others are in need. After saving money, Nana then went to the Dean of Engineering at the University of Alberta to apply for admission. They rejected his application as they did not feel he would be able to pass first year, let alone obtain a degree. This did not deter him. He was determined to become an engineer. He went to the College of Agriculture and was admitted. There he studied for 2 years, all the time having to hold down many part-time jobs. He didn't even want that degree. He was just using the opportunity there to build up a record at the university. Nana then went back to the College of Engineering with his transcript and marks, which were amazing. They gave him admission. He graduated in 1962 from the University of Alberta with a degree in electrical engineering. What he tells me of his university journey is that there's not only one path to lead to your goal. Be open to explore all paths. Stay focused. Persevere. Just because one person tells you no doesn't mean you can't do it. Write your own destiny. Don't let someone else do it for you. Nana tells me of his many friends helping him learn English. He tells me of his professors making time after class to ensure he understood the material. He tells me that he was missing his family, but his Canadian family made him feel like he was home, like he belonged there, like he was wanted. What great experiences he shares with me, and now I am sharing with you. Just as he started his immigrant journey then, someone is starting it today. I want to be that person that they remember, lending a hand. When the Syrian family Appleby sponsored came last year, my family gathered bedding, clothes, mattresses, lamps, and kitchen things. I had an opportunity to meet the father when he came to our house to help load the items. And although we did not speak, I could see the thanks in his eyes. It was such a small gesture for my part, but I feel like I made a difference. It's the best feeling in the world to have a connection like that with another. I hope I'm able to keep making a difference in some small way. Once Nana graduated, he worked all around the world. He worked for the United Nations in Malaysia and France. His job opportunities were amazing: Fiji Islands, California, and Asia. He said Canada was his home. He came back to work in Saskatchewan. He was a professor of engineering for 40 years. He is a Canadian. He belongs. He is an immigrant. He and I are part of the Sikh faith. Nana's faith has been constant in his life. One of the basic tenets of Sikhism is to work hard to provide for yourself, your family, and the community. One important saying is Ik Onkar, meaning that there is one God. We're all one big community that God has created. The same God has created all the people on the earth. We are all equally deserving in his eyes. Nana helped his community to the best of his ability. He volunteered. He helped build the Gurdwara, which is a Sikh temple. He had nephews, nieces, and cousins stay with him so he could help them, so he could tutor them through university and get a degree. He helped his friends get their family members to Canada. He was a board member in many organizations in Saskatchewan. He was a professor then, but he remembered all too well the days he was a student and needed the help. He helped the students beyond what was necessary. I challenged myself to go beyond what is necessary too. I challenged myself to look beyond my needs and give to my community. In a small way, I think I do. In order to graduate grade 8, you need 15 hours of community service. I'm beyond 30, making the most of my spare time to try and give back. This is the story of Santokh Basi, but it hasn't ended. He keeps teaching me lessons by doing, not just saying. Last month, he was in India. He was the lead engineer to revitalize his village and bring in clean water, paved roads, a town square, and a school with computers. He was doing this all on a volunteer basis and raising funds to pay for it all. He is still actively engaged in his communities both in India and Canada. I am very proud to have a Nana like him. As I continue to forge my own life story, I incorporate so many lessons Nana has taught me. The thing is, there are Nanas like that all over Canada, and that's what makes me most proud to be Canadian. To be accepting and inclusive. I wouldn't be here today if Nana didn't immigrate to Canada all those years ago, if people didn't help him along the way, and if he didn't help himself. With that, I would like to lead us into hymn 500, Sister, Let Me Be Your Servant.